1960s, when it's pretty sure, it's pretty well established that we have a going thing in the art world, and that about 6,000 people have created some of the best art in the 20th century. When they couldn't kill us, they decided to claim us. Do you understand? Those are our artists. Every one of them. They're all Americans. They're good Americans. We can put their paintings together and send them all over the world. So that's Americans. That Jackson Pollock, that's called all over painting. That's America. We're all over fucking everything. And so all of a sudden, America embraces the arts. And well, if we're going to embrace the arts, we have to support the arts, you know what I mean? And the best way to support the arts, since we're all businessmen, we know that supply-side economics is what works. And the way you run supply-side economics is you encourage the sources of art. The more sources of art there are, the better odds that there will be good art out there. So all of a sudden, we start encouraging artists, hand over fist. We have art graduate schools, thousands upon thousands of them. We have art students, hundreds of thousands of them. And it didn't work any better than anything else ever did. But we didn't give any thought to the fact that supply-side economics is a murderous and ruthless concept. What it means, we get 1 million people to try, and 900,000 of them go broke. That's supply-side economics. But we got Microsoft, but we got what we got. And the idea of all of this support for the arts, because America's number one in the arts, and we want America to stay number one in the arts. You know what I mean? I can remember when people referred to an American art world, and there may be one, but it's probably in Brussels. But the problem is by multiplying these sources, you create a situation in which everybody's going to fail. You know what I mean? Hundreds of thousands of people are going to fail. Who is going to make money? Professors are going to make money. Real estate people are going to make money. Universities are going to make money. Your dad's going to have to pay for it. You're going to pay $250,000 for a graduate education. And then you can't go to the beach and smoke dope. You have to work in an Apple store. You know what I mean? And so you have this enormous source of art out there. You have all of this art that's being produced, and who is encouraging you? Well, you've got your professor, and now your professor, and I'm one of those professors, so I stand as vulnerable as they do, but your professor probably graduated from whatever one graduates from, if one is an art professor, MFA, something like that, PhD, maybe 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. What's he going to teach you how to make? He's going to teach you how to make an 89 Datsun. Do you understand? Because if he could make an 89 Mercedes, he'd be in New York. But he can make an 89 Datsun, or if he's a little older, an 85 Datsun. Do you understand? And so you're going to come up here into this meat grinder with your 89 Datsuns. Do you understand how suicidal that is? You're going to destroy all of the money your mother and dad have ever put together to buy some dump in Brooklyn? You know what I mean? I mean, that's just a really terrible idea. And the thing is, you got all of this support to keep you out there. And the reason you got support is because here in America, we value creativity. Now, let me suggest to you, and I had an experience of About a year ago, I was speaking to a bunch of CEOs in Vegas at a convention. My job, as it turned out, was tell them to not buy art for investment in what they wanted to hear. But I opened the show for Dick Butkus, the football player. And Dick speaks probably more often to CEOs than I do, and way more often. And Dick comes up there and he says, "This nation will survive on its creativity. It'll be founded and continue on the ability of people like us to create the new world. And my job here is to free your creativity to express itself." Okay, gee, never heard that before. But my point here is that creativity is not an art word. You know what I mean? It has to do with obstetrics. It has to do with a whole lot of things. But mostly, it's not an art word. It's a business word. Creativity is a way of multiplying the sources of art, so we make sure we have a good quantity of respectable art, and we don't kill everybody in the process, or quite everybody in the process. So we have this whole cult of creativity. Now, how do I know it's a cult of creativity? Because I talk to these people. Because I'm not a snob or a snot. Well, yeah. But I talk to them anyway. I have, in the last decade, spoken to representatives and groups of representatives of art support systems. Local ones, state ones, national ones, international ones, all support the arts. These would be organizations, foundations, associations, alliances, institutes, and in all of this talking, I have heard mentioned maybe 100,000 artists and about, say, 50 subsets: Korean artists, dyslexic artists, regional artists, local artists, every kind of artist you can imagine, out of 100,000, so that they all break down to about 50 a group. And I promise you that in this entire dialogue, not one person has ever mentioned a single work of art. Do you understand what I'm saying? Art is not what it's about, because art doesn't vote, because art doesn't pay taxes, art doesn't pay tuition, art doesn't do any of the things that we expect of American creativity. You know what I mean? It just makes a bunch of Jews a bunch of money. You know what I mean? And so, what can we do about this? But my point is, without any works of art being mentioned. Now, think of all the people you know that belong to the American Art Alliance, or the organization of collective people that really want to help the arts, or the Woodmont Bracey Institute, who really do want to help the arts. Think about all these people, and imagine, just think to yourselves, do you think any of these people know anything about art? No, they don't know shit about art. Can they tell a, can they tell a Monet, from a Miro? No. Well, Arthur Danto can't do that. So. Arthur, you here? I had a feeling he'd skip. Anyway, but my point is, what kind of artists are we encouraging if nobody who's encouraging them knows anything about art except how to make a 79, 89 Thomson? You know what I mean? Where's the pool of